Welcome to the Genesis Healthcare Podcast, where we go beyond the traditional office visit to explore what it truly means to live with optimal health. Each episode brings you candid conversations with our Genesis providers and featured guests from across the health and wellness space, covering everything from primary care and prevention to aesthetics and lifestyle optimization. Whether you're ready to take control of your health through a Genesis membership or explore treatment options to look and feel your best, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Ready to begin your journey to better? Visit thegenesisdifference.com to schedule your first appointment or aesthetic consult today.
Hey guys, I just wanted to welcome you guys to Genesis. I wanted to ask you guys to maybe introduce yourself, tell us who you are.
I'm Richard Ballard, chiropractor. Been in Johnson City my whole career. Actually grew up here in the Boones Creek area. Went to Boones Creek School, Daniel Boone High School. Moved away for a few years, and when I was in school away from here in Atlanta, I decided that's not such a bad place. I think I'll go back there.
Sure.
So when I graduated in 2002, came back, jumped in practice with Rick, and then we've been partners ever since.
Fantastic. It's hard to leave the creek, isn't it? Once you start drinking the water on the creek, it's hard to leave the creek.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate it so much until I moved away. And then I was like, yeah, that's not such a bad place. I'll go back there. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's a little more drastic. When I went away, I went to Iowa. So, after 72 degrees below zero, I decided I would come back here. So,
it was a little bit easier.
Yeah, I went to Palmer College in Davenport. I grew up in Johnson City as well. My dad moved here when I was 5, and he taught at ROTC at Daniel Boone, and I went to Science Hill and went to ETSU in Milligan, then decided to go to Chiropractic College after I got hurt in an accident and saw several doctors, and no one could help me. And saw Dr. Lonnie Jackson back in the day, and Lonnie had me fixed up in about 2 adjustments, actually, after I'd suffered for months, and came back and actually went into practice with him for a little while.
That's awesome.
And then I was looking for some help, and Richard graduated, and he actually saw my dad at dinner. My dad told him to come talk to me, and I asked him if he would do all the grunt work and paperwork and pay all the bills, and he said yes. So I said, yeah, come on. So we've been together ever since.
That makes it really nice.
Oh, it's nice.
I saw Lonnie Jackson when I was in high school.
Did you?
Yeah, he was fantastic. He was a fantastic human being.
Yes.
And really good at what he did.
Yeah, good chiropractor.
He actually could use some physical exams and actually know what those things meant.
Yes.
It was kind of nice to see that. So we were talking about critical thought and things like that before, and so he was definitely a pioneer, and not a pioneer in critical thought, but somebody who actually used his brain for that. So today I'd like to talk to you guys about what you guys do from a chiropractic standpoint and sleep. Sleep is one of those. It's a diagnosis that people come in and they just say, well, honey, I just can't sleep. Or my sleep's terrible. I wake up tired all the time. And, can you help me with sleep? Can I get an Ambien? Can I get a Lunestic? Can I get something for sleep? Can you help me with sleep? And so I think the knee jerk in medicine and in our culture has been, if you have a problem, I've got a solution for you as a clinician. And so I would like to really discuss some of the ergonomics of sleep, some of the sleep hygiene that we need to prepare ourselves for sleep, and some of the things that we just don't think are as important as they really are from a sleep standpoint. So if you guys could maybe talk about some of the beds that you got and some of the chiropractic things, and then we kind of go into sleep hygiene.
Well, in 2002, when I went in practice with Rick, he was already talking to a mattress manufacturer because of what you just said. We have patients that come in and say, what kind of mattress should I be on? I wake up in pain, my back hurts all the time. So Rick thought, okay, well, I'm getting this question all the time. I need to just develop a mattress. So we did. We developed a mattress through a local manufacturer. This was in 2002, and designed a bed. We got together and thought up a name of our company, formed a LLC, Chiro Slumber Mattresses, and we have owned that company since 2002.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that people misunderstand about sleep is what causes you to have bad sleep. So I want to explain that because I think it'll make more sense. So 2 of the things that really interrupt your sleep are, number 1, heat. When you get too hot, you tend to toss and turn. Number 2 is interface pressure. And what happens is when you're laying there, if you get hot spots and pressure points in your bed, if it's not done properly, you'll create this capillary occlusion, and that shuts off the blood flow. And when that happens, your body goes, hey, we got to move. But every time you move like that, you come out of deep sleep. Deep sleep is, you get 90 to 120 minute cycles. When you come out of that, you have to restart your deep sleep, start your sleep cycle.
You're basically napping.
You don't pop back into deep sleep. And that's where the hormones of sleep really get affected. Ghrelin and leptin, which cause you to be hungry or cause you to be full. Melatonin, human growth hormone, the big one, really, if you're not in deep sleep, you're not going to manufacture those hormones. So I was seeing patients would come in and say, hey, I bought a new mattress. Well, how much did you spend on it? Oh, $7,000, and do you like it? Well, no, I hate it. What are you going to do? Can you return it? No, I can't return it. Or, just over and over. Or worse yet, I would recommend a mattress and they would hate it. And I was like, well, that's my reputation. They just spent $2,000 on a mattress and now it's gone.
Right.
So our goal was to have a mattress that gave you enough support to not have back problems and enough comfort to where you would wake up really rested. Some people can sleep all night but wake up and they're not rested. And things that show during the days, if you're yawning all the time or you feel sleepy all the time, if you have those roller coaster days where you feel a lot of energy and then after lunch you don't, it has a lot to do with that. If you're not getting proper sleep, everything else goes downhill.
Okay.
Everything.
So when you're talking about mattresses in general, and I just kind of want to stay on that for just a second because, you've got everything from Sleep Number to Tempur-Pedic, and those are basically just marketing, right? Versus ergonomics.
Great marketing.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's kind of what makes what you guys have done stand alone.
Well, one of the things we looked at is we don't want mattresses to break down early because the industry averages about 7 years of a lifespan for a mattress. Some
I had
manufacturers.
25. Is that good?
25. That's great. I'll be seeing you next week in my office. So when you use convoluted foam, which is like egg crate foam, it feels really good for the first little bit. But any kind of transverse friction, like when you jump across your bed or move back and forth across your bed, it really breaks that foam down instantaneously. So we use what's called a high resiliency foam. It lasts longer over time and holds its form. And then, of course, when we address the issues of heat, we try to use gel-infused foam, special covers that dissipate heat and moisture, copper infusion that helps with that. There's all kinds of things on the market that we can put into our mattresses and some of our covers to help dissipate heat and moisture and make you sleep better.
Okay.
Yeah, let me jump in there. And that is the biggest complaint is heat when people come and they're asking about a mattress. And we address that several ways, but going back, we started the company with one mattress and it was a fantastic mattress. I slept on it for over 15 years before I ended up getting rid of it and moving on.
And he could get a discount.
But yeah, because I weigh 165 pounds, which takes me to our next point. We started with one model and we quickly realized that, okay, even though that's a great mattress, I can't put the guy who's 6 foot, 150 pounds and does triathlons on the same mattress and feel good about it as the guy who's going out for the O-line and weighs 320 pounds.
Right.
So we had to come up with a couple of different options and we settled on 3 options and we still have that to this day. We don't want to, we could do anything we want and make it any way we want because we've worked with several manufacturers over the years, but keeping it down to 3 makes it simple. Okay. And so we can talk to the patient, hey, how much do you weigh? How tall are you? What's your spouse? What's their deal? What's your history with back pain, joint pain? Do you have a surgical history? We can go through all that and fit them to one of our 3 mattresses and even tweak it if we need to. Okay. But yeah, a one size fits all, you just really can't do that with a mattress.
Well, and I'm loving that because in my practice, I like to individualize care. Right? And some people come in and that all they want is the Western approach to medicine. And it's super easy. I don't have to think very much. I've tried to tell them to do this and they don't want to do it. And so it's like, okay, here's your blood pressure medicine. See you next month, or see you in 3 months. See you. Hope everything works out. Eat your Cheetos and live your life. But then I've got the other guys that come in and they're like, all right, I use like all of these herbs and I wear Birkenstocks and beads and so I've got
and see a chiropractor.
Go see my chiropractor. So it's really cool, but to individualize the care, and then you have the ones that are kind of like me. I wear cowboy boots most of the time, but I'm pretty crunchy. Right? I do a lot of supplements and I do a lot of nutritional care as well. But anyway, I like the fact that you can individualize it. So,
and we make our beds. We don't make them and keep them in storage. They're made when they're ordered.
Okay.
So we don't have stuff sitting around the warehouse getting dusty, getting mites, getting everything else in it. So, and one of the things that we really focused on when we first started was we wanted our beds to be non-toxic.
Okay.
So all of our materials are certified clean, non-toxic, non-carcinogenic. So we really focused on that.
Okay.
And we use foam that's manufactured and it's CertiPure certified so that when you lay on it, you're not breathing chemicals all night, getting yourself lung cancer.
And over the years, we've used several manufacturers. We've bounced around. There are only a handful of foam manufacturers in the United States, but it was very important to us to make sure our beds are made in the United States. Because you can go to Sam's Club and buy a $500 mattress, but it comes straight from China. So you're laying on this mattress all night, breathing in chemicals all night long that are carcinogens. You don't know what you're getting. Right. So with ours, they are certified through CertiPure, which is an organization that's independent. And they're all made in the United States. Ours currently are made in North Carolina, shipped over to us or to wherever we sell these all over the United States.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, I think that's fantastic. I'd love to see a little bit more of the science of it too, as far as like some of those things.
I've got a study for you. We did a study several years ago with ETSU with their sports science department.
Okay.
We used the mattresses that they had, spring mattresses, with their Olympic weightlifters. We did a 6-month study. At the end of the 6 months, they would go every 30 days, would switch off, and they kept all the data on it. At the end of the study, they concluded that their athletes got 42 more minutes of deep sleep per night, which is equivalent to 3 hours on our mattress versus a spring mattress. So they didn't publish the study because there's so many steps to do it, but I've got the study that was performed there. So yeah, from
an athletic standpoint, that's got to be like
it's incredible,
game changing.
Yeah, it is. Because one of the things like we talk about the exercise all the time, people talk with us that too. It's not the exercise; it's a recovery.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We see over and over, overtrain, not enough recovery, injury. Mm-hmm. So you get in that cycle.
Well, that's fantastic.
Poor sleep, decreased testosterone. Yeah, it's huge.
Absolutely. And, there's so many foundations to health and wellness. I think hydration, nutrition, sleep, as far as your quality of sleep.
That's the pillars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so, we were talking a little bit before camera about the sleep hygiene. And so I know that most people will say, okay, dark room, right?
It's a great start.
Yeah, dark room, right? And then it's kind of like, all right, well, I got a dark room, but my mind still races. Can I still get that Ambien? So how would you guys approach, from a sleep hygiene standpoint? Could you kind of walk through some of that?
Yeah, there's a couple of different, there's sleep onset insomnia and then mid-sleep insomnia. Originally, if you look back in the literature, going back to the 6th century, there's first sleep, second sleep. So people would go to sleep when it got dark. They would get up, take care of their cows in the middle of the night or their herd. Then they go back to sleep and get up when the sun came up. So it's not unnatural to wake up during the middle of the night. If I have a patient that does that on a regular pattern, I encourage them to get up for 30 minutes because there's nothing worse than laying in bed wondering how long it's going to take you to go back to sleep.
Training your body that the bed is something that you can be awake in.
That's right. So just get up, read a book, do whatever you got to do, get whatever ready for the next morning, and then get back to bed because you don't want to just lay there for 3 hours wondering if you're ever going to go back to sleep.
Yeah. Fighting sleep. Yeah, the thing I believe from the bed standpoint, it's for sex and it's for sleep. And if you're sitting there reading a book, if you're sitting there with reading your phone, or if you're sitting there with the TV on,
Don't get me started on phones and TVs.
oh,
Yes.
it's awful.
Yeah,
Right. So
it's horrible for you. I mean, your brain waves, your brain has to cool down. So one of the things is don't take a shower before you go to bed. Take a shower at least 90 minutes before you go to bed. If your body heats up, it has to be cool. That's why you want a cold room. 68 degrees is beautiful for that.
get a postmenopausal woman to help you with that.
Yeah, 65 degrees is great for that. So, we don't call it that. We call it thermally challenged. So, but yeah, definitely that, and lights in your room. You want it dark, but you also don't want any blue lights in there. They're very disruptive to your brainwave pattern. Right. So if you either have your phone and you have your computer, or you have the TV that's got a little dot in the middle of it that's blue during the night, it's really going to interrupt your sleep because the photons still hit it. And when you get up, a lot of people don't realize that it's important to get lights on immediately because you want those photons hitting you so your brain wakes up.
Right.
Sunlight in particular.
Yes.
Yeah. For a lot of things, depression is one of the things that I tell people as I get in front of the sun. When the sun starts rising, get in front of the sun. It's also really good as preparing your body for sleep. So when you wake up with the sun, get out in it or in front of the window and just watch the sunrise. Don't look at the sun necessarily. Don't put on any sunglasses. Don't stare at the sun. But yeah, be out in the sunrise. Watch the sunrise. It basically allows your body to restart that circadian rhythm and allow your melatonin 16 hours to really kind of kick in and go, okay, it's time for bed now.
Tons of recent studies show that 30 minutes of sunlight first thing in the morning. Numerous benefits.
Yeah, from the depression, if nothing else, and so anyway, so that's important. I tell people also that one of the big things is the middle of the night. I get a lot of people that wake up in the middle of the night, they're wide awake, and I'm saying, well, first of all, what are you doing right before bed?
Diet.
Absolutely. It's a cortisol rush. It's a spike of that cortisol to keep you from dying, because your blood sugar is dropping and you're not eating, you're in the glycolysis from eating a carbohydrate or having a glass of wine or a bourbon or a tequila right before bed. And your body's, your glycogen stores are dropping, your glucose stores are dropping, and the cortisol spikes to wake you up. And so that's another thing that you alluded to. It's like, if you wake up from that, get up, move around, get tired, but really don't have that glucose, within an hour or two. 2 would be optimal. Definitely not an hour before bed.
All right, and cut out caffeine.
And then start slowing it down.
And cut out caffeine at noon if you're having trouble falling asleep. Yeah.
So, what other sleep hygienes?
A good cheat code for someone that has that issue is a spoonful of peanut butter before you go to bed. It steadies you out pretty good with that protein.
Yeah.
And
I'm big on olive oil.
Okay.
How about honey? Have you heard?
Honey's pretty decent.
It doesn't spike the blood sugar like people think. I just had a Medicare patient.
Unless we're diabetic.
I had a Medicare patient in 2 weeks ago. I told her, let's try some glycine and try a spoonful of honey. And she said, I'm pre-diabetic and I'm wearing a CGM right now. My primary care's put me on. I don't know if I can do the honey. I said, just try it one night and let's see. She came back in 2 weeks. She was like, you were right. My blood sugar didn't spike with the honey. I was shocked. So,
yeah.
But glycine's another neat one that we're seeing some recent studies. Do you prescribe glycine?
Not abundantly. A lot of times I really try to go a little bit more of just like heavy fat for those people that wake up. I'm like, that's why I say just do a big old slug full of olive oil.
Yeah.
And if it tastes good, it's probably not any good for you. And they're like, "Ooh, that's disgusting." I'm like, "Well, you're the one with the problem."
Right, you go get flavored olive oil. So.
But yeah, I like that. I like also, just saying, hey, just drink you some water. Prepare yourself, slow down the lights, start dimming the lights a little bit, get rid of, TV right before bed, pray, meditate. I had a friend of mine, he shared the same birthday as I did. He was a little bit older. He's not with us anymore, but he said, he was an elder in my church. And he said, if you can't sleep at night, he said, just start praying out loud. He said, the devil will put you right to sleep.
Oh, well, with my wife, I just turn the vibration on my bed, on my adjustable bed, and it puts her out. So it works pretty good.
But like when you're talking about like this, the light, I've got some blackout tapes and things to put over those little dots on the TV or my pads that from the alarm system. And so I blacked out that. Eye masks are fantastic. I think that's a really good idea to also but darkness is a big thing for sleep hygiene. And then what else? Do y'all have anything else to add from a sleep hygiene standpoint?
Well, we talk about exercise all the time. You don't want to exercise too late.
No.
Because that'll definitely get your body heat up again. I find that sometimes if people are having that issue, doing that, a cold compress to their head, for 5 minutes will help cool the brain down, actually. So that really helps. When I'm having issues, which I generally don't, because I hear that I go to sleep pretty fast, I do deep breathing exercises, like really deep breathing exercises.
Right.
And that usually within 2 minutes of doing that really helps.
Sure.
I found, and it's a form of meditation. It would be the same thing. So I found that really helps slow things down.
All through my 20s and 30s and into my 40s until the COVID happened, and that would have been when I was 47. We played basketball on Sunday nights from about 8 o'clock to sometimes 10 o'clock and beyond. And I would come home on Sunday nights, and I was not getting any sleep.
You can't.
I was wired. Here I was in my 20s and playing full court basketball, and so I was pretty decent shape at that time. But I could not shut down. It just took me forever to get some sleep on Sunday nights. But you're exactly right. Exercise at night is just it's hard.
Yes,
it's hard to shut down. So, anything else on sleep and sleep hygiene?
Love exercise.
Yeah.
The benefits can't be underestimated. It's
earn your sleep, right?
It helps everything. Yes. Just don't do it right before bed. But helps everything. And I'm going to jump back to glycine because a year ago, I'd never even heard of it. So there are some recent studies about glycine, and it's super cheap. I sell it in my office. I don't know if Metagenics makes, I know you do Metagenics products, and Life Extension is what I've been carrying, and that's what I sell. But it's $12 for a month's supply. But there are some recent studies that show glycine, 3 grams an hour before bed, helps your body reduce its core temperature, which we were talking about, temperature, 68 degrees, optimal sleep temperature. It helps cool you down. But the neat thing for men is that it helps shut off your urgency for urination. So guys over 40, certainly 50, who are starting to have to get up to pee a couple of times a night, take 3 grams of glycine, try this for 2 weeks, and see if it makes a difference. But yeah, super easy, natural supplement, $12 a month.
That's pretty
Give it
awesome.
a try. Yeah.
It's weird because when we first started doing making mattresses, I used to get up 3 or 4 times a night. And I was pretty young back then. I was in the early 40s, and I was like, man, I'm already having some issues. I'm having to get 3 or 4 times a night to go to the bathroom. I wasn't. When I finally got a good mattress, I found out I was just waking up because my mattress sucked.
Right.
And so I was thinking, I guess I better get up and go to the bathroom. So I get up and go pee. So it wasn't a prostate issue, it was a mattress issue.
Yeah. And with the prostate issue, I was reading an article a couple summers ago on nocturia, or peeing at night, men having to pee at night. And the number one reason for nocturia was dehydration during the day. It sounds counterintuitive.
It's counterintuitive.
Right? It's like, wait a minute. You're telling me that I need to drink more so that I pee less? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's really ironic that you kind of bring up the nocturia, but that's something that has a lot of bearing on men's health in general because they're not sleeping well throughout the night because they dehydrate during the day because they're afraid they're going to have to get up and urinate, so they make it worse.
Yeah,
and so it compounds it.
I find that a lot. Many patients are chronically dehydrated. I do a little trick with them. I just tell them get a shot glass and do a shot of water every 15 minutes. If you set a gallon of water out in front of you, you're going to think, there's no way I can drink that today.
Right.
If you do a shot glass, you can do that every 15 minutes. Boom, 2 ounces. You don't think about it. the end of the day, you drink 16 glasses of water. Yeah. Our general rule of thumb is if you're sedentary, half your body weight in ounces. If you're very active, your body weight in ounces.
Right.
So, but yes, we find chronic dehydration, especially with neuromuscular and musculoskeletal conditions. It's really like that.
Yeah, so. You're kind of getting into my fun area right there because I love hydration. I've got a podcast on hydration or a lecture on hydration and the importance of hydration, and really water is so important, and we think that water is, we should just sterilize it and make it as clean as possible. And we're not designed to have sterile water, by our municipalities. So this is a little bit off subject, but your minerals are supposed to be coming from your water. Your sodium is supposed to come from your water. 90% of your calcium intake comes from water. And we filter all of that out through the municipalities. And then we filter it out again because we don't trust the municipalities to put the right stuff in there.
Well, that's because there's chlorine and fluoride and everything else in there.
Right. But that's important that you do filter those things out. But once you filter it out, you better put these minerals back on board. And that's where I get into things like, your mineral salts, with things like Celtic salt.
Pinch in. How do you do
I have some Celtic salt or some Redmond salt at my desk, and I'll actually just take a little pinch of that 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. When I get dehydrated, I'll just take a little bit of that and I'll drink some water afterwards. And basically, it's unlocking the cell. And I've got a slide deck on that. And if you look at the channels in the cell, the calcium channels, the sodium channels, the potassium channel, all of these things in the cell, and you look at it, you go, well, you can't unlock that gate without the key.
Right.
And the key is not in water. It's in living water, and the living water is designed by God to come out of springs and streams and wells, and that's what we're supposed to drink out of, not pipes. And so that's another thing that people have a misconception of. Well, I drink, 16 bottles of water a day. Or
PVC is not a mineral?
Yeah, PVC doesn't really work. So plastics are not that good for you. Actually, it goes into another hormonal talk. But yeah, I look at it and I'm like, you really actually have to put the electrolytes back on board. If you don't get the electrolytes, I mean, when we were playing ball when we were kids, like how many people cramped? It didn't happen, right? I mean, like I was used to playing every minute of every game, and it's just, okay, you drank water on the sideline.
Out of a hose.
Yeah, right. Out of a hose or after, but you look at some of the things that we're drinking, and these kids in the first quarter of a football game cramping up,
Gatorade.
And the injury. Gatorade is
the worst
horrible
thing you can ever
you.
stick in your body.
Yeah, and so anyway, we can go on to a lot of, but hydration is huge during the day. And then earning your sleep through exercise, but then shut it down within a couple hours of going.
Let me tell you one more thing. We see a lot of people that get leg cramps and have restless legs. Mm-hmm. One of the things they can do at home that's not adding anything is to untuck your sheets at night. Yeah. So if you consistently have restless legs or cramps, untuck that top sheet. You don't want your feet pinned down like that. And I think that'll make a huge difference for a lot of people. Yeah. And then the electrolytes, and we use a lot of magnesium for that too. So
sure. Well, I think that's a pretty good little. You need to tell the rest of it. Maybe we just did tell.
Just make it go viral. It'll be a thing.
Well, that's a really good little pearl. I like that. So, all right, yeah, magnesium's fantastic. Some people say you should use your magnesium in the evenings. Some people are like, well, I just take mine in the mornings. I take mine. Personally, I take mine when I can, but I'm really trying to take as much of the mineral salts as possible. And not every magnesium is made equally. Most people are taking magnesium citrate, and I'm like, oh, so your bowels are moving. So, I think glycinate's probably one of the better ones for your sleep. 3 and 8's also really pretty good with malate, and we do have Zymogen's actually another company that we use, and we have a Trimag that comes through them, and that's got the malate and the 3 and 8 and the glycinate, all three, and then I add those mineral salts throughout the day, and then I think that. That's enough, right? Mm-hmm. But when you don't get enough, your body will rob it from the bone matrix. If you don't get enough of of your minerals, and that's what I tell people is you will get 100% of your need met all day long. If you don't get it met all day long, you will rob it from somewhere in your body. So if you get 80% of your calcium need and you need 100, you're going to go rob it from somewhere. And a lot of times it's because you're going to go rob it over in your bone matrix. And you wonder why we lead the world in osteoporosis and dairy consumption. You're not getting calcium from dairy, right? You're getting it from your bones or from your water. And so you get you get 120% of your need. Your body will excrete the rest of that 20% to meet your 100%. So that's where I my kind of little ditty on mineralization is you better over mineralize your body because your body can get rid of minerals excess. You know, people used to say to me I was a sweat hog all growing up, so that's fine. But you know, I was sweating out excess mineral. Or you breathe it out, or you defecate it out, or urinate it out. And so, you know, if you're getting rid of the minerals, great. But if you're not getting them, you're robbing them because you will get calcium to contract a muscle. You get magnesium to relax it.
And what is your body's priority? Your body's priority is keeping your heart going.
Yeah.
So it's going to rob from wherever it has to make sure that those minerals are in the heart. Yeah. So you're getting leg cramps, you probably not have enough minerals.
Yeah.
You know, it's priority one here.
Yeah. And I'm like, how many athletes died of heat exhaustion, you know, when we were growing up? Right. And a lot of times our penalty in football was you won't get any water. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You hadn't done enough to get a drink yet.
Right. And now guys are drinking Gatorades and sports drinks and energy drinks and eating all kinds of foods and they're getting snack breaks and they're just passing out.
Listen, Gatorades and Powerades, they're close to battery acid. If you do the pH levels on those, you know, from 7.2 where neutral, and you know that's why alkaline water is pretty popular now, but it's pretty close to battery acid. You're better off drinking beer than you are Gatorade because of the pH level of the liquid.
You heard it here.
I'm just telling you.
It's a new pre-workout. Pre-workout.
I don't know about IPA versus Pilsners or anything like that. So yeah, it is. It's less acidic than Gatorade.
Yeah.
So
the Gatorade that was developed by that sinister university in Florida was actually made right, and then it was sold out and then
bastardized.
I was going to say that, but it's bastardized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By greed and big money. I would say the number one thing to improve sleep quality for myself would be wake up the same time, go to bed at the same time, do the same thing over and over.
It's very important to get those circadian
that we
rhythms.
haven't discussed already.
Yeah.
Is just wake up and go to sleep relatively close.
I agree with that. And you'll see that a lot with kids, especially when they sleep in on the weekends. Come Monday, they're out of that circadian rhythm, and it's hard. It's really hard on them. You know, we sleep because we need to regenerate. That's why babies sleep 20 hours a day, because they're in growth phase and they need that growth hormone, you know?
Right.
And that's why our growth hormone drops as we get older, because we don't sleep as much as we need to.
Right.
We don't get that quality sleep. I think the number one thing is your sleep environment, like we talked about. Keeping it cool, getting rid of your lights, having a great mattress, you know?
Yep.
I agree with both of those. The sleep cycle, keep it the same. Your sleep environment, good mattress, and I'll just go back to exercise. I think other than those things, if you'll exercise every day, that'll really improve your sleep quality. And then I'll finish with what we tell our patients all the time at the office. Don't get cheap on your shoes and on your mattress. Spend your money where you spend your time. If you're on your feet all day, don't buy cheap shoes, buy good shoes. And you spend a third of your life on your mattress, don't buy a cheap mattress. Get something that's going to support healthy sleep.
Let me address that real quick. So I do conferences all over the country, speak to doctors all over the country. And why don't you get a new mattress? Oh, they're too expensive. What kind of car you drive? I drive a BMW. So you'll spend $60,000 on a vehicle that you'll sit in 1 hour a day, but you won't spend $1,500 on something that you're on 7 hours a night. Where's the stupidity in that?
Well, we've got a culture full of it.
It's amazing, isn't it?
That's why we all have jobs too.
That's right.
Priorities.
Job security.
Job security, right? And sometimes, in our job security, it really is just opening up their eyes and saying, "Hey," put a mirror in front of them and say, "Hey, quit being you." You is not working for you. You need to pay attention to this. This is super important, and just tell them the truth. And that's where I think critical thought comes in. So importantly with people like us, and the reason why I've invited you guys to come and discuss this with us is because you guys critically think, and I like to do the same thing, and not just say, "Well, I'm just going to do this part because this is what I was taught to do." I'm going to learn you and treat you. Anything from a chiropractic standpoint you'd like to talk about from a sleep hygiene or sleep standpoint?
Yes. One thing we find, especially in spring and fall, we have a rash of people come in where they have cricks in their neck. Mm-hmm. They wake up and their neck's stuck to one side. Yeah. And usually that's because of the temperature changes, the real big temperature change where it's 40-degree swing during the day, and they'll have fans on. When you have a breeze across your neck, it creates some shivering. So if one side's covered and the other side's not, it'll shiver for the body to keep warmth in there. And then you'll wake up with an imbalance like that and it'll be cricked to the side. See it when people travel in airplanes, have the fan blowing down on them, sure enough, or in a hotel especially. So when I'm in a hotel, I don't want anything blown across my neck. Sometimes I have to put a chair in front of the fan or whatever, depending on where the fan is, if it's high or low or whatever. So look at that too, because if you have something blowing across your neck like that, it can cause you some issues with that sometimes. I'm not against having a fan in your room.
He's full of these pearls.
I'm not against having a fan in your room. Just make sure that,
Well, I have 3 fans in my room.
Okay.
It'd be the postmenopausal.
One of them, Trish.
So that's good. So they can hit you from
the elbow.
They can hit you from all sides.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, going back to why you have issues with sleep, I think a lot of that, or symptoms of your sleep deprivation, waking up tired. That's probably number one. You didn't rest well. You didn't get to total REM sleep, and you didn't get the proper amount of rest. And I think the hours of sleep you should be able to sleep from 7 to 9 hours a night. If you don't get at least 7, you're probably not going to feel too good. And then some of the other symptoms are heavy snoring. When your spouse says that you're snoring heavily, probably ought to look at sleep studies and think about sleep apnea. Or gasping for air in the middle of the night. I think, from a blood sugar standpoint and a hormonal standpoint, with what's going on with the pituitary gland and the feedback loops that you're getting during sleep, and your high stress, your anxiety, you're depressed, the symptoms of sleep are everything.
It's a myriad.
It's everything. I mean, if you've got, and I think we as clinicians don't address that well enough, because we say, well, here's an ambient, here's a Restoril, here's a this, here's a that.
Let me tell you 2 things. Do you know what the average additional deep sleep you get from sleep aids, from Ambien and that kind of stuff?
I
will tell you, I've read the study. It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
You're drugging yourself for 10 extra minutes of deep sleep. So, yeah, and then you're dealing with all the effects the rest of the day from that. Right. Your brain has what's called a glymphatic system. It's basically like a lymph system for your brain to get out all the sludge from where you've thought so hard all day, and you get all this sludge in there, and it's got to get out. And that's what happens during deep sleep. That glymphatic system clears all that out.
Okay.
That's why with the brain fog occurs, because you've got all those poisons still in there. You haven't gotten them out of your head. So.
We do have some newer sleep aids coming out that actually put you into the sleep stages and increasing your orexin state. And so that's pretty interesting with some of those medications. I've used a little bit of them, but because they're branded drugs and difficult to get covered, that's
all right. You brought it up. Let's talk about insurance. There we go.
Yeah. So from a segue standpoint,
thanks for tuning in to the Genesis Healthcare Podcast, empowering you to live optimally. Ready to take the next step? Visit thegenesisdifference.com today to learn more.